Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I hope all is well with you and yours. I'm Greg Spin, and on this episode of the Say What's on Your Mind podcast, we're speaking with Dr. Lewis, and he's revisiting the subject of vaccines, and he's also going to touch on detoxification. So let's just dive right in.
Mostly I worry because no one has looked at the long-term effects of vaccines. And no one's really looked at the effects of multiple vaccines given together. And we know that if you get two viral infections at the same time, that you can have some devastating results. And so if combinations of viruses can produce devastating results, what about combinations of live vaccines, live viral vaccines? And no one's really looked at that. So, and I worry also that with all these vaccines, that we're undermining children's opportunity to develop immunity. So, if we eliminate all childhood illness, then where are we going to get immunity from? What's fascinating is that third world countries with lots of infections have no asthma to speak of. They have very little juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, very little type 1 diabetes. They have worms and parasites and lots of infections. So apparently there's something about the balance of cytokines. When you get sufficient infections, you don't tend to get autoimmune diseases. So I wonder if we're pushing people toward autoimmune disease and away from infectious disease. And I suppose I'd have to say that in medicine we do a lot of things that we don't really understand the long-term consequences. So which is better, to get measles, mumps, and rubella and chickenpox, or to get type 1 diabetes, asthma, and juvenile rheumatoid arthritis? So, but we don't think that way. We just think, oh, infection, bad, vaccine, good, give, and more is better. And so we're not really contemplating the long-term consequences of our actions. There was you can't really sue the makers of vaccines thanks to an act of Congress. And they must know something about unpredictable side effects if Congress had to intervene to prevent lawsuits against vaccine makers. So it all worries me.
That's some great informative information coming from Dr. Lewis, huh? Well, when we return, he's going to give you more information about detoxification. Hang on. Welcome back to the show. Let's get more knowledge now from Dr. Lewis about detoxification.
There are numbers of substances that are stored in fat and the liver and other organs, and including drugs, which sit around for a long time. And the idea of detoxification is to get them out of the tissues. And people argue about how to do that. I think heat is a good way to do it. Sweating is a good way to do it. Some people are really fond of chelation as a way to do it. I think anything that increases the body's capacity to put sulfur onto compounds or methyl groups onto compounds helps to get rid of things. So DMSA is a sulfating agent, and DMT is a methylating agent. I've seen people benefit from taking those kinds of things. And cysteine is an amino acid that provides extra sulfur, or methionine, or S-adenosyl methionine, SAMe, as it's commonly known. So it seems reasonable to try and get non-organic compounds, non-natural compounds out of people's bodies. And because we know that they have an effect as long as they're sitting in the tissues. They sort of leach out for years potentially. And so to get rid of those is a good thing. For some people, just exercising daily is enough. But other people probably benefit from more strenuous detoxification.
For people with compromised immune systems, any special considerations or contraindications?
I wouldn't think so.
So pretty much detoxing is good for everybody for any kind of degenerative illnesses.
Well, it can't hurt. I mean, it may not help, but it can't hurt. And I've been impressed that that juice fasting, especially green vegetable juicing, is helpful to reduce inflammation. And I think that probably inflammation is a good model for why you would use detoxification. In pro-inflammatory states, you just get a buildup of these chemicals that the body makes. It's a good thing if you have to fight infection, but if you don't, then it's a bad thing. So asthma is a pro-inflammatory condition. Arthritis is a pro-inflammatory condition. I've been impressed that doing things to lower the burden of pro-inflammatory molecules is a good thing. So juice fasting for arthritis or Crohn's disease, dietary modification to get rid of things that are potentially reactive, compounds like amino acids or sulfur compounds to bind with these cytokines and histamine and things the body's making for inflammation, prostaglandins. So, and detoxification would do all of that as well. So it's, in a sense, it's an anti-inflammatory move.
That's some great information, Dr. Lewis. We sure appreciate that. And if you'd like to say what's on your mind, you can do that as well. You just look in the description, there's a link, and you can send us a voice message of what's on your mind. We can see if we can get that on the podcast, huh? Also, we appreciate your support. In that same link, you can also become a monthly supporter of this podcast so we can continue to bring it to you and continue to grow it and get all of this great information out. And we can also continue to say what's on our minds, huh? Thank you so much for your support, and we'll catch you on the next podcast.